think people underestimate the value of what a real, authentic network group can produce. You need to listen to what your audience is asking from you that's based and rooted in your gift. Think about if you were to take a rock and you throw a rock in a pond of water, you're going to see ripples, right? And I tell people that's what your organization should look like. It should be ripples that can stand the test of time.
Welcome back to another episode of Built Different. I'm really excited today because today is all about networking. You can network on a podcast. You can network in real life. You can go to some meetings, shake some hands, and drop some business cards. But what are you really going to get out of it? Well, today we're going to learn from our guest, Catherine, all about it. She has Strategic Seed Network, and she's going to school us on networking and everything she has growing with her platform. Catherine, how you doing today? Thanks for being
I
here with
am,
us.
yes, I am well. Well, first of all, thank you so much to you and your team for having me to be on your show.
Absolutely, absolutely. I saw everything you had. I'm gonna tell you what I saw that I really like. I saw you in the pictures with everybody, right? With everybody in your network, everybody who you've been growing with. And people need that FaceTime, right? We have a lot of digital tools. We have AI. People are scared that AI is going to take their job, but nothing can beat the human experience, right? Meeting
Absolutely.
somebody, giving them a hug, shaking their hand, just exchanging real life energy. And then that energy can turn into business or whatever it is that benefits both parties. But seeing you in those photos really put a smile on my face. Like, here's somebody who's out here making it happen for us. So with Strategic C Network, tell us what it is and what made you build it.
Absolutely. So, well, thank you for that observation. It's always important to me when I'm hosting my networking events is to make sure people feel that they belong, and that when they walk into the room, yes, it's a business networking event, but it's also an extension of who they are. And they're meeting individuals sometimes for the first time. And so, anybody, sometimes you can walk into a network room. Sometimes these rooms can be a little icy.
Yes, yes.
And so my job is to make sure that when people walk into the room that we're threaded together like a puzzle piece, that we're all interconnected together. So how do we get started? So about 4 years ago is when we formally started Strategic Collaboration Network, aka Strategic C Network. And so prior to that moment, I was a sole proprietor working with business owners. 80% of my clientele were in, and still to this day, in the not-for-profit community,
Okay.
working with organizations, assisting them to get their 501c3. But beyond that, how to be sustainable, right, in the communities that they're serving. So our niche is in strategic planning and organizational development.
Okay.
So I already had a network of business owners, and then we do have a component of our services for the for-profit sector. So we already had this network, right? For-profit and nonprofit business owners. And so several of the individuals that I was coaching and working with said, we need a hub for us. We need a community for us. We need a space for us. And it's no not to any other organization or any other network groups. I pay much love and homage to every other organization that's out there because it's a lot to pull people together. It's a lot to build something. So I feel that they helped pave the way for what it is I'm even doing right now with Strategic Collaboration Network. So hats off to the other organizations that's been paving the way. But I believe what we bring to the table in the business community is this cohesiveness of, if
Hmm.
anyone ever look at our logo, you'll see a puzzle pieces in our logo. And that's symbolic because it says that we are all interconnected. I'm your puzzle piece and you're my puzzle piece. And so at the time of formation, in about 4 years ago, we already had a built-in network because I had tons of people that had already served in the nonprofit arena, in the for-profit arena. And I just started hosting something called the CEO Network Mixer. I just said, that's what we're going to call it, the CEO Network Mixer.
Nice.
So we started having all of these mixers, and it was, I believe, a missing piece to what was needed within the business community. And it's not based on what I'm saying. This is what the feedback that I was getting from individuals that was participating at these CEO network mixers. My background is a community organizer. And
Okay.
so in that umbrella, under that umbrella, you're naturally bringing people together, right? In a communal space. And so I just shifted what I did as a community organizer to everything that I'm doing when I curate my business networking events. And so, but I'm very intentional about, bringing the nonprofit and the for-profit community together to see how they can be cohesive and support one another, right? So it was born out of a need and out of individuals asking me, hey, can you create this? At that point in time, there was no this. But I sat back and I said, okay, well, what is my niche? Well, I'm a strategist. So
Hmm.
strategy got to be somewhere in the name. So, okay, strategic. I like bringing people together, collaboration, and network. So, thus, the name Strategic Collaboration Network was born, aka Strategic C Network. You may also see online SCN. That's another vernacular that we use if we reference the company. So that's
Hmm.
how it was originally born. I listened to what the my target audience was asking for, and then I created it.
That's awesome. That's the best way to build a business, right? Listen to what the people actually want. And if you can provide it, that's going to shortcut you through so many problems in business. So I love that you said that. So anybody that's listening, don't make it
Yeah.
hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Ask people what they want and give it to them. They will pay you for it. Um,
Yeah.
but you mentioned something about the CEO mixer. And I think that kind of leads into my second question was you work with a lot of executives and leaders. What's one thing that you notice about how these types of decision makers think different from everybody else? Hey, real quick, I want to share something with you. If you want to attract more ideal clients or customers to your business without living on social media, I got something for you. It's called the Content Clarity Quiz. It takes 3 minutes, costs you absolutely nothing. Once you complete the quiz, you'll get a score that's going to help you understand how to position yourself as a go-to expert in your market without becoming a full-time content creator because you're a business owner and you really don't have time for that. So, click the first link in the description and get a better understanding of a strategy that's going to bring you more clients, not just likes and follows. Now back to the show.
Yeah, I believe they're wired different. We're wired different. I mean, because we have to see things from a long-term visionary perspective. We can't just think about the here and the now, what's going on in this moment. But when you're, particularly leading up any kind of philanthropic endeavor, again, 80% of my clientele was in the not-for-profit community. You're thinking long term. So one of the things that I would see in many of the executives, they're thinking about the mission and how that mission is going to make an impact 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road. So the common thread that I saw was that they were visionaries that think long term and about how their mission will stand the test of time with or without them, because at some point you're going to pass the baton to the next generation. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's what I noticed.
Nice. So you're working with mostly people in the nonprofit sector. What is a typical work week like for you? Like, how are you actually spending your time? How do you plan to spend your time? Like, where do you wish you were spending more of your time?
hmm So it's a blended approach. So some of my clients are one-to-one coaching clients where they're in the very beginning phases of developing their mission, right? So they don't have the 501(c)(3) yet, their mission, the bylaws. So it depends on what stage they're in. So I have some clients that are in the formation stage, right? Then I
Hmm.
have some clients that's referred to me, they're past the formation stage. They've already been operating for some time. I do board development retreats. I just did one in November. It was awesome. It was a 2-day experience with the visionary of an organization and their board of directors. And we hunkered down and really redefining their mission and identifying what are their goals for 2026. So it's a hybrid approach. I work with those that are budding organizations and those that are already seasoned,
Hmm.
but they need a refresh, right? A little refresher, upgrade, if you will. And that's
Okay.
where when we'll do the board development retreats where we narrow down on what are your goals, what are your success stories, what things work well, what things didn't work well. Let's do a SWOT analysis, right? And identify what needs to shift for the upcoming year.
Yeah, I noticed that, and this is not a knock or anything, but I have noticed that nonprofits still operate like a for-profit business.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they don't approach it like when you just mentioned SWOT analysis, it made me think about that because oftentimes like people talk to me about it and they don't approach it with any type of business savvy. They're not doing SWOT analysis or restructuring or upgrading their development because they are visionaries and they are just passionate about it. Is there anything you do in your coaching to help people kind of stay the course on how to deliver results through their nonprofit?
Absolutely. I always approach every coaching session, every board development retreat, every interaction with a client that I'm serving in the not-for-profit space, and I make it clear it is a business. And to your point, there are a lot of people that don't talk about SWOT analysis and they don't connect it to the nonprofit sector. You'll hear that common in the for-profit sector, right?
Hmm.
But not as common, in the nonprofit sector. So I utilize that language and we break it down. What does it mean and how is it going to impact your organization, your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats, right? And then we talk about earned income strategies, right? Goodwill Industries, I wrote a book in 2014. It's called Community Engagement, From Concept to Implementation, 8 Steps to Unlocking Your Creative Ideas. So everything that I've done since 2014 when I coach with my clients have been based on principles in my book.
Hmm.
And there the featured case study is Goodwill Industries. When you study Goodwill, they're a non-for-profit, but they have gobs of funding opportunities. It's not, they don't put all their eggs in one basket. It's not all just grants. They have earned income strategies, i.e. the Goodwill store. So when I'm talking to a client, I am helping them to dissect ways to generate capital so they're not just depending only on grants. What are those diversified financial portfolio? I use that language with nonprofits as well, because you have to be thinking in that way so you're not just open one day and close the next.
Yeah. Yeah. So congratulations on writing a book because now you in like the top 0.001% of like all humans that's ever gonna, everybody aspires to write a book, right? But they don't get one done. So if you don't mind, could you share like a couple of those steps, like maybe one, two, three of
Yeah,
those 8 steps? I mean, you can
yeah.
share as many as you like, but I think that'd be helpful.
Absolutely. So the book starts off talking about creating the strategic plan. That's step number one. That is the foundation to everything.
Okay.
So in step one, there's a piece of the puzzle that I think sometimes is skipped over, and it's called community mapping. So if someone has a desire or passion, they want to start an organization, but did they do their research, right? If for example, if someone is starting a for-profit business, they're doing this business plan, they're doing their competitive analysis and market analysis, and they're researching what's in their backyard. But a lot of times nonprofits, if they're starting, they're not necessarily doing a community map to see what's in their backyard, right? Looking up the school district, looking up what other businesses are in the area, looking up other maybe civic organizations you could possibly partner with, and it makes sense. So in step one, I talk a lot about community mapping. Like before you go heavy into whatever you say you're trying to do, make sure you've done your research. And
Hmm.
even with that research, make sure you're also speaking the language to who you say you're about to serve. Because I think sometimes when we start an organization, we say, well, I'm going to do this for this said group of people. But how do you know what you're saying you want to do is even what the need is? So community mapping, having that honest conversation with those that you want to serve is super important to make sure it's real. Like, so outside of my for-profit, I have a nonprofit as well. And it's a youth mentor program. And I remember back in 2013, a lot of the youth that was in my mentor program. And so Catherine Trotter, aka Cat, is my nickname. The kids call me Cat. And
Okay.
they said, Miss Cat, we need our voices heard. And I'll
Hmm.
never forget, I'm doing a group mentor session. I said, okay, well, talk to me. We need an open mic for us. I said, okay. So I reached out to a community development corporation in the Northeast Baltimore area. And I said, hey, can I use the space to do an open mic for the youth? 80 young people came out from the community. I'll
Mm.
never forget. And that was the birth of what is now today the Speak Life Tour, which we have our trademark. We've taken youth from Baltimore. We've gone to New York, Philly. We've gone to Cali. We've gone to so many other places, Atlanta,
Nice.
North Carolina. But Speak Life Tour was birthed out of, again, I'm listening to the youth. They say, listen, we need a space for us. Because at that time, it wasn't an open mic space for 18 and under in the community. So we created that in partnership with a community CDC, and it just blossomed.
Nice.
So whether it be on my for-profit side or on my nonprofit side, I'm always listening to who I'm serving. What is the need?
Got it. Got it. So that's step one. Let's just go through step two real quick because I'm getting
Yeah.
excited because we talked about
Step
listening to
two
other people.
is
So what's the
step
next one?
two is one of my faves. Step two is talking about the creation
Hmm.
of the timeline. What is your timeline on how you're going to execute whatever you say you're about to execute? In other words, putting pen to paper, selecting dates. So I'm big on, like right now we're in December, a couple of days and not that far away from 2026.
Yep.
I am big on making sure you have marked out the upcoming year and break it down by the quarters. So the creation of the timeline is literally saying, in this first quarter, this is what we're going to get done. In second quarter, this is what we're going to get done. third quarter, fourth quarter. Why is that important? If you look at any kind of grant application, they're asking you, well, what are your upcoming projections? You're asking for this said amount of money, but what are your projections? What is your timeline? You'll see those questions in the grant application. Literally, in all of my 8 steps, I looked at and I dissected a grant application and I said, well, I am going to create an 8 step that when a person is done with it, they're ready for a proposal, they're ready to submit a grant, they're ready to pitch to someone. So step 2 is creation of the timeline. We're literally dissecting 12 months and we're breaking down what needs to happen in those 12 months. That makes sense. Then when we
Hmm.
go into step number 3, that's examining your assets. And I always tell people assets is not only liquid cash, assets is the sum total of you and everyone in your network. Your board of directors is an asset. Who they're connected to is an asset. So in step 3, we really dissect what type of assets do you have that you can magnify and multiply. And then of course, cash is a huge piece of that puzzle, but it's
Hmm.
not only just limited to that. Then when we get into step 4 talks about the development of the teams. What type of teams do you need? You need a marketing team, an outreach team. So we break down who do you need in addition to your board of directors. So that's like a sneak preview with the first 4 steps. But I want to
Thank you.
skip to step number 8
Okay.
because step number 8 is a heartbeat, I think, of the book. It's called the ripple effect. And the ripple effect talks about how do you make sure that your organization stands the test of time, decade to decade? Think
Hmm.
about if you were to take a rock and you throw a rock in a pond of water, you're going to see ripples, right? And I tell people that's what your organization should look like. It should be ripples that can stand the test of time. And if we take it back to step number 7, we actually do a deep dive in making sure you're not only just getting your 501c3, how do you maintain it? So we talk about your annual reports that have to be due on the state level and the federal level. We talk about how do you maintain your bookkeeping, right? And if you do get a grant, how do you do your reports? So we really get into the weeds of a lot.
Man, I love it. I'm definitely going to link the book in the description here so people can go and follow that for their nonprofits. I think that this is exactly why I actually be on the show. Like I was
Thank
looking, I
you.
was listening, I was getting excited. I got my little planner right here. Like, yo, she just told me
Yes.
stop planning, make sure I got my 12 months together. So,
Yes.
um, thank you for sharing that. So when you put together a book, now you have like your own original IP to share. So how do you go about like marketing now? Do you use some of your book IP to build your visibility now and to uh make people more aware of strategic C networking?
Yeah, so my book has opened up doors to contract opportunities. And I always tell people when you look at anything that you finish and your name is attached to it, that's just another tool to help open up other doors. So my book has helped over the years. Like I said, I published it in 2014. And in April, I'm going to be releasing 8 Steps Reloaded. It's going to be an upgraded edition. Can't,
Okay.
can't wait till we release that. But what the book has done for me has put me in rooms with other clients, has helped me to close deals with clients as well as lead me to contract opportunities where I've been brought on to teach classes about the 8 steps.
Got you. Got you. And so, but for now, like when you get your clients, do you get mostly, is it mostly referrals or do you have, because I never, we don't
Mm-hmm.
know all the time how people market, because we know that there are
Market.
consultants
Yes.
for nonprofits or just people who consult with actual organizations. So,
Mm-hmm.
how do you market like your actual organization, the networking
95,
organization?
yeah, 95% of my clients is warm market. It's warm referrals.
Got you. Got
A
you.
week doesn't go by and I don't get a new referral.
Oh,
Like
nice.
I have been in this consulting space since 2007. And
Okay.
it's been building over time, but again, keep in mind, it even with that, I didn't wake up one day saying I wanted to be a consultant. How that happened was I'm doing work in the community. I'm an organizer. And different leaders started to come to me and say, "Hey, I need help with community organizing," or "I need help with getting my 501c3." People started to come to me. And I'm just now at that time in the beginning, I'm just casually helping people. Wasn't
Mm,
even I wasn't even thinking about starting a consultant business. But after so many people started to come to me, I said, "Oh, this is my other gift that I'm supposed to give to the world in this consulting space." And then I started off as a sole proprietor, and then as the years evolved, the LLC, and then that turned into the S corp and all of that.
mm,
But again, even back then, I was listening to what the people needed. And I keep going back to this because I think sometimes when people say they want to start a business, they're looking at what other people are doing and they want to mimic, copy, or whatever. But you need to listen to what your audience is asking from you, that's based and rooted in your gift. Because of what I did as a community organizer, it opened up the consulting space. From the consulting space, it opened up contract opportunity space. From that, then we started, creating our network group, right? Everything was, stacking on top of each other. It was all in an alignment.
Mm. Yep. Yep. That's difficult for a lot of people to really kind of weed out what their gift is and start with that because for whatever reason, sometimes you just start in a different place, whether it's just your background, your training, or what you think you're passionate about. So thanks for sharing that. So man, that was a good one because some people believe different things about what their gift could be to help people. But in your case, it's networking. So what are some of the things that people believe about networking that they get wrong?
I think, well, one, I don't believe in just going to a networking event and you just going around, you passing out cards. And then we know we're in the digital age, so we got the digital stuff going on right now. Whichever way you flowing, whether you still old school with the brick and mortar cards, or you're AI and you got the digital way. Either
Hmm.
way, I don't believe you just supposed to come to these network spaces, soak up everybody's contact information, and then bounce. That I cannot stand. When I see something like that, honestly, that's not a person I'm going to do no follow up with. I'm not doing no business with them because you just work in the room and getting everybody contact number, but you're not actually having a real conversation. There's
Hmm.
no real exchange. Strategic collaboration network is about an exchange. We have these micro meetups called points of connection that is deliberately to be between 5 and 25, no more than 25 at a time, so we can have real meaningful conversations, and not just swapping contact information. So I
Hmm.
think a misconception about networking is that you're just going to these spaces just to collect people's information, but there's no exchange.
Yeah, yeah. You can't just show up and take. You got to give. That's just
Mhm.
it's everywhere. It's the laws of the world, of the laws of
Yeah.
nature, actually. So but you mentioned AI. Do you use it in your business, and if so, how?
So I've been using chat. I do have a digital business card as well. I
Hmm.
like chat from a research standpoint, but again, I want to say this: you still got to use your intellectual property. A lot of times I hear people say, we're going to use these different platforms, which I do embrace. I'm not one of those that's saying, hey, I'm just so opposed to AI, but I still believe that if you're going to build a rock solid business, it got to come from your brain. And
Hmm.
see, whatever I do put in chat, or any AI tool, right now I've been using chat, I still put my knowledge, my thought into that tool so it can populate what I'm looking for. And even with that, I don't just go face value, I'm still tweaking along the way. So I do believe I like to use it from a research perspective because you can get a lot of data. Like if you're doing proposal writing and things of that nature, it cuts down on time of researching data. So that's why I really like it. But
Hmm.
as far as the thought process or putting together my concept, it's still coming from my head. And then I just use chat, to extract certain data. Or if I'm trying to do an analysis, I love it for that purpose. Or if you're trying to create a budget and crunching numbers, it will crunch numbers for you in record time. So I love those aspects.
Yes, yes. That I thank you for sharing that, right? So, because a lot of people use it for different reasons. I think that research is always a great place to start for business owners because, like we talked about, with doing like SWOT analysis or research, it gives you back time, right? Because it's so fast and it can crunch these numbers way
Mm-hmm.
faster for you. And we may just go to it for answers or to write an email, but the research is key because it helps you see the world different. Like the
Yeah.
scope, the perspective you have around your business is it's
Mm-hmm.
like elevated and widened. So thanks for sharing that. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
So what's one really hard thing about I want you to answer this for two things, please. A really hard thing people don't like to hear about when it comes to one, networking, and two, their nonprofit, because I didn't know that you were so great with the nonprofit and there are people who listen who have nonprofits. So
Mm-hmm. So what's one thing about the networking that
that
people?
that's like a hard truth that they don't like to hear about about networking, not just like business cards, but anything
Yeah.
else about networking.
I think sometimes sometimes people can overlook the value of it. I mean, there's beauty in coming together. So for
Hmm.
example, think about COVID-19. That was a space where people wasn't physically able to come together anymore. And then that's when everyone flooded these online platforms and started doing these digital meetings, right?
Hmm.
I think people underestimate the value of what a real authentic network group can produce.
Okay.
Um, because in that space, not only deals are made, you're really fortifying in an alliance. To me, that's when I look at a network group, it is an alliance. It is an extension of myself. It's an extension of my knowledge because now I'm in a space with a lot of other great thinkers, right, and creatives. So I think if we get beyond ourselves and say, if I'm in a network space, now with that, you still have to qualify. Not every network group is for you. Like even with SCN, I'm not delusional in thinking everybody's going to be a part of SCN. SCN may not be the matrix for that business owner. So I always tell people, of course, come to anything that I'm doing, but also check out others that's in the community and see where you fit best and where you feel you can grow, right? But I think what's undervalued is the fact that a real network, that group that's built from an authentic space, it really is an alliance and it's an extension of you.
Two things. You said it's an extension, and are you qualified? Thank you. Listeners, you better get qualified because you can't show up to a network. This is why some people have to pay to be in networking groups, right?
Mhm,
The dues don't say that you got to give me money that makes you qualified, but
mhm,
the mindset of being able to pay dues to be around more people like you understand that it's worthwhile. So
mhm.
you brought that out of me, and thank you. Right? Are you
Absolutely.
qualified? I don't feel bad now asking people that, or
Mhm,
position it in such a way. So.
mhm.
Um, yeah, that's
And then the
great.
other piece, it was a question about the nonprofit
Yeah,
space.
what's one hard thing people don't like to embrace or they're kind of shocked by when it comes to getting their nonprofit together?
Well, the number one question I get all the time, people are starting nonprofits and they assume just because they get their 501(c)(3), they about to run out the park with a huge grant, like immediate, like a $500,000 or $1 million grant. Like, hey, I got my 501(c)(3), or some may not even have it yet. They just have a wonderful concept. Mad love to everyone that have the concept, but funders want to make sure who they give money to that it's going to be used in an appropriate way. But not only that, funders are looking, can this organization multiply what I give them?
Mm,
And a lot of times people, think because I have this great mission, I have this great thing that I want to do for the community. I know money gonna just rain from heaven. That's not reality. You need to build your brand. I remember when I was building up the Speak Life tour, some people didn't even think it was under a nonprofit umbrella. They thought it was for profit because I'm very meticulous in how I put it out there. I'm not putting it out there in a way that says, we're a needy organization. Of course, every organization needs funds, but I'm not posturing us in that way, right? Which garnered us to get a lot of support financially and otherwise. And so it's how you position your organization that's going to attract those that's going to support it.
nice. Nice. Thanks for that. Yeah, I'm just taking notes in my head about how
Mm-hmm.
things work with nonprofits. So,
Mm-hmm.
as you go forward, moving forward in your business and you're growing, how do you see things going forward? What is your vision for expanding? Because you
Mm-hmm.
work in a nonprofit space, I know it's not just about making money. So I know you probably had, other than the new book, I know you got the new book, so you can tell me about that too. But if you see any other kind of vision for how you're going to grow going forward the next few years.
Yeah, well, under the for-profit company strategic collaboration network, we have a 5-year plan that we're going to be in 25 states. We're already in the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia. So we're going to fortify our base. We always believe in that. Fortify the base first. I'm not trying to expand so fast and so wide to other markets until our base is solidified. So we're focused on 2026 to solidify our base. What does that look like? We're bringing on other professionals into the network that are going to be consultants. So when individuals come and become a member of FCN, they're not just getting access to me, but they're getting access to other grant writers. They're getting access to the legal team, right? They're getting access to people that have expertise in HR, because if you're bringing on staff, you need an HR team. You need to know what that process looks like. That's not my lane. right? So, and then we have other individuals that are strong in terms of contracting to guide people through the process. How do you prepare yourself if you want to get a contract? So, our focus for next year is growing our base, growing our membership. But we're not interested in growing it so super fast that we don't know who's signing up.
Right.
Let me say, and then people have said, "Oh, you're doing it in such an old, antiquated way." Like people cannot just go online, pay a fee, and sign up and be a member. And that's not even how I have it set up. There's literally an introduction process where they have to fill out an intake form. Then we're having our meet and greet, and then we're explaining what our platform offers them to see if it's a good match. I have no desire just to flood it with, you know, all these members, but they don't know who I am. I don't know who they are, and there's no real connection. We're building something that's going to last with strategic collaboration networking. So that's why we're doing things a little different. And again, this is to build the foundation. I'm not saying down the road we may not tweak some things, but right now, while we're building things out, we want to build it a certain way.
I like that. Goes back to being qualified, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So the last question is, and you just touched on it a bit, but what what makes working with you and working with SCN different? It's all about being built different. So what are some of the things that you feel like you can contribute as a consultant that
Yeah.
makes you built different?
So quality. I believe in quality services. I won't even take on a client if after we do our initial conversation, if I feel as though I can't provide quality services or
Hmm.
that's out of my scope of services, I am going to redirect them to where they best can be served. Because if I can't provide quality, I'm not going to take it on just to get make a buck. So the first thing that I know that I bring to the table is quality. And then the second thing is anyone that is considering to be a member of SCN, you're going to get a community of individuals that's diverse, that is very forward thinking, right? You're going to be immersed in a room. And I think I'm reflecting on this testimonial that I recently heard. I just did a closeout holiday event, and I believe in getting testimonials just to see how people feel about it. And one of the ladies said in her testimony about SEN, what she connects to is that she can come into a room and maybe not know really anybody in the room or a couple of people, but when she leaves, she feel like she has a whole new set of brothers and sisters.
Nice.
SCN is a very communal. It is a for-profit business, but it also has that communal vibe to it.
I love it. I love it. Well, I'm going to link your book. I'm going to link everything to SCN and where everybody can find you. Can you tell us where you prefer them to go if you have anything special you want to guide them to?
Absolutely. So I got to plug this. Saturday, April 18th is the Unlock 2026 Business Conference. Go to strategiccnetwork.com. Again, that's strategiccnetwork.com. Tickets are going to go, and once they sell out, they're going to sell out. And then we'll open up the virtual component. But Saturday, April 18th, kicking off at 11 a.m., we're going to be at the Maryland Center for History and Culture right in Baltimore. So you
Okay.
want to get your tickets. Ticket link is live right now. There's opportunity if you want to be a vendor and exhibit your business that day. So go to strategiccnetwork.com, click on the link that says Unlock 2026, and you'll get all the information.
Okay, great, great. I'll make sure I'll put that in the description as well. And
Mhm.
we did a lot of building just
You
now, man.
built, yeah.
We learned some things
Thank
and
you so much.
yes, thanks for joining me. And I'll be talking to you and seeing you around on LinkedIn and probably in real life at one of your events, right?
Yeah. See you
Okay.
at the top.
All right. All right. Okay. That was a great episode.
Thank you.
You're so energetic about it. Like that's what we need. That's what we need to
Hmm.
see, man, because the business is tough, but some
Hmm.
people get discouraged when it gets tough. And if you're doing the right things and you're really serving from a place of how can you help, it keeps you energized. And you just shared that, so
Yeah.
I'm really happy. Now I have a special request.
Yeah.
I'm not at your networking event right now, so I
Mhm.
can't take a cool picture. So I want to take a picture right now,
Okay.
so I can tag you in a
How do
post
we do
pod.
it? You can.
I'm just gonna take a picture of us right here, like
Okay.
you on the screen,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna put you on my big monitor, and then you can just wave. And
Okay.
because I see that you have a LinkedIn, I didn't because I found most people on LinkedIn. I never checked their Instagram, but
Yeah.
because you have Instagram, then I can tag you on Instagram. People to see you
Yeah.
like now, like immediately. So
Okay.
that's how we start to try to leverage our network. All right, give me 1 second.
Okay.
That's not the right one. I have to do it from this side.
Okay.
That way. One, two. And I'm gonna put a timer on for us.
Okay.
Oh, that is photo timer. Okay, here we go. It's counting down. I'll let you know in five, four. That went great. So I'll tag you.
Okay.
That way, you can start to prime your audience and your network because you have such a vast network that you're going
Yeah,
to be
I'll
on the
definitely push
pod.
it out there. I'll definitely push it. And then let us know how we can support what you're doing. So like your podcast, and then what else do you do in your business arena?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So I do AI consulting and marketing. So I
Mm,
used to own a juice bar, and
okay.
it was in Mount Vernon, right on Charles Street. And then
Mhm.
Johns Hopkins came and said, "Hey, we need one of these at our college." So I had a second location at Johns Hopkins, and
Okay.
I had to run it from top to bottom. But my background was already in like marketing and everything, so that's where I kind of excel. Once that business wrapped up, I was getting asked, like you said, you do what they ask you. And so I
Okay.
just showed up to do marketing consulting. And through that, I started using AI for my juice bar. I do a lot of back end operations and things like that. So I
Hmm.
kind of just combined it to do AI systems around marketing and
Wow.
operations. Yeah. So I put the podcast together because I'm online
Hmm.
all day doing AI and marketing content stuff. So,
Hmm. Well, you
so
know
that's the
what?
what I do. Yeah.
Maybe we can talk about because I'm looking for some breakout facilitators, like speakers for the business conference.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
have breakout rooms, and I don't have a person that does the AI marketing as a facilitator. So let me know what your schedule looks like, and I can send you like an official invite email. But let me know because that would be great if you can come and be a breakout facilitator and talk about your niche area.
Yeah, sure. I've done a couple earlier this year, so I appreciate you opening it up for me. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
thanks. Okay, so I'll send you a follow-up email. It's going to have the raw files and the transcript, but also I'm gonna send you some clips so you can have kind of like highlights to share and
Okay.
post. And then I believe your episode is scheduled for January 21st.
Perfect.
So
Thank you
I'll
so
send you
much.
another reminder email to let you know that it's gone out, and then you'll get the live link with the edit and everything.
Okay, sounds good. Take
All
care.
right, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.